£5 I'm Lee Mackerlane, and here is what's coming up on the programme. Salford Red Devils coach Ian Watson has announced his departure from the club.
And I'm here at the AJ Bell Stadium to tell you more.
Should schools and universities have closed during the second national lockdown? We hear from some local people.
I mean, now, what's it going to do? Because it's going to, all those students are going to spread all over the country again. So I think the damage has been done.
Sunday marked the 25th anniversary of the Disability Discrimination Act. We speak to one BBC journalist about his experience with disability.
It's the adult population in general that needs to be educated.
And one local man walking 60 kilometres this month to raise awareness of male cancer and suicide.
To do how many lives are lost per day over these issues, etc. So that's why they set it at 60k, 1k for every person.
First tonight, a recent Salford Now poll has shown that 65% of people believe that universities should be closed during this lockdown. While pubs and restaurants and cafes have all closed, teaching across the country continues. With Salford University staying open, our reporter Callum Metcalf has been getting some local opinions.
In this latest lockdown, universities are currently still open, causing dividing opinion across the city. At Salford University, they currently have a mix of online and face-to-face teaching. The number of current students who have received a positive test at Salford Uni currently stand at 553, and with the question of students being allowed home for Christmas currently looming, we asked the residents of Salford if they think that universities should be able to open in lockdown.
I think it's just too dangerous for us all going into unis right now, especially because if one person has it and they test positive, you're going to have to be off anyway for a couple of weeks, so I don't think there's much point.
I mean, now, what's it going to do? Because it's going to, all those students are going to spread all over the country again. So I think the damage has been done.
That's a hard one. I understand the reasons why it should, but like for example, for myself, with my type of course, it is a practical type course, and I would want uni to be open and to experience the full uni experience. Like, this is my first year living away from home, and I feel like I'm missing out on that uni experience.
Recent coronavirus tracking data showed that 35,468 university staff and students have tested positive for coronavirus. We conducted a social media poll asking people whether they think that universities should close in this second lockdown, and a staggering 64.9% of people said that they think that universities should close. This is what some of the people who voted had to say.
The rate of COVID went up when educational places opened up again. This lockdown won't do anything.
If I can see hundreds of people each day, why can't I see my boyfriend who I've lived with prior?
They should stay open, as we aren't being refunded for the 9k we've spent on face-to-face teaching and resources.
There should be an option for people to go into uni. I think it's vital for a mental health perspective.
It feels like all the sacrifice, loss of businesses and social life will be for nothing as schools open.
With this lockdown due to end on the 2nd of December, and the recent news of a possible vaccine being on its way, it'll be interesting to see if these opinions change. Callum Metcalf, Salford Now.
More of the day's news: a man in his 80s has died after a house fire in Salford. Emergency services were called to a property on Liverpool Street around 6 o'clock this morning. Greater Manchester police say they are investigating the cause of the fire. A big sports story for you now, after Salford Red Devils coach Ian Watson quit last night after 6 years with the club. Our reporter Isabel Blakemore has been at the AJ Bell Stadium for us today.
Yesterday it was announced that Ian Watson, coach of Salford Red Devils, is leaving. He made a sudden leave after being approached by another Betfred Super League club, with speculations it's Huddersfield after their coach Simon Woolford left in September. Salford Red Devils Twitter announced Ian Watson has parted company with Salford Red Devils. Salford Red Devils would like to thank him for his contributions to the club throughout his tenure. Watson did have another offer from Hull only a fortnight ago, but pledged to see out the Salford contract, which ran out at the end of 2022, after he agreed an extension in February. Salford fans are disappointed about this announcement, saying they're absolutely gutted about the news, but there's definitely two sides to every story. There's no news of who is replacing Ian Watson just yet. That's all from me here. Isabel Blakemore, Salford Now.
Sunday marked 25 years since the Disability Discrimination Act was passed, which was created to protect disabled people in employment, education and transport. Our reporter Aaron Diskins spoke to 5 Live journalist Ellis Palmer this morning about his experience working in the media.
25 years ago, younger people tend to be aware of disability issues because more young people have gone to mainstream school in the last 25 years. It's the adult population in general that needs to be educated. You know, kids are curious, but come up to you in the supermarket, they'll ask you questions about your disability, they'll ask you why you're using a wheelchair, and you've got an opportunity to kind of address their ignorance. I mean, I've been in supermarkets and shops before when kids have come up and asked me questions, and the parent will pull them away and tell them to stop asking questions or stop being rude. And actually, no, it's the adult population that tends to be extremely ignorant of disabled people's experiences, and doesn't do anything to address them. I mean, I'd say we've got a long way to go in terms of awareness in the media as well. It's still nowhere near enough disabled program makers, enough disabled news journalists, whatever it may be. But also there's this barrier you face when you get into the media of being a disabled journalist and only doing disability focused stuff, or disability focused stuff are the only ideas you get commissioned for to do broadcast.
The November campaign has kicked off again this year, and people across our city have been growing out their moustaches. It's a light-hearted way to draw attention to male cancers and mental health, which the charity says is even more important during coronavirus. Ruth Welding has been speaking to one man about having cancer treatment during the pandemic.
Dear Mum and Dad, this isn't your fault.
Movember, formerly known as November, is the month that men around the world grow out their moustaches to raise money and awareness for prostate cancer. With over 5 million men taking part worldwide, their aim is to reduce the numbers of men dying prematurely by funding men's mental health and suicide prevention projects, as well as prostate cancer and testicular cancer research. In the UK, 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their life. Risk factors include being over the age of 50, having a family history of prostate cancer, and your ethnicity, as 1 in 4 black men are diagnosed with prostate cancer. David is currently having treatment for prostate cancer.
So what does that mean then? Does that mean they can cure you, or is it just no?
I'm terminal. I'm already 2 years over where I should be. I got told it'd be October 2 years ago. I probably won't be here. But through the Christies, I'm still here, still fighting, still have a good life, except for COVID, as we all know.
Has COVID affected any of your trials and your treatments?
The worst thing about it now with COVID is I've got to go on my own. Even when you get in results, you're there on your own. And that is the hardest part about it. And things like Movember do help so much. And also, I think it helps other people as well, thinking that they're helping people. And especially at the moment, everyone needs that bit of thing to make them feel better.
I spoke to 2 men from Salford who are taking part in the fundraiser.
So was the diagnosis in your friends, did that spark something to say that you want to be involved in raising money for awareness?
Yeah, it's a combination. It's a combination of my best mate being diagnosed with depression and having to take antidepressants because of it. And then my other 2 mates also having either signs of depression and not really been diagnosed yet, or been diagnosed and taking some kind of medication or going to therapy. Yeah, definitely a big influencing factor on why I wanted to do it.
I've seen online that your fundraiser, you're not only just growing the moustache, you're also doing a walk. Could you tell me more about that?
In the past, it used to be just men that used to take part in it. So it's a way to get the girls involved as well. Obviously, girls can't grow moustaches, so they've set a 60k walk, and the 60k is significant. It's to do how many lives are lost per day over these issues, etc. So that's why they set it at 60k, 1k for every person.
What a brilliant story that was. Will you be growing out your moustache? Let us know on Twitter at Salford Now. Now, do you miss going to the theatre? Well, theatres across the UK have been drastically affected by the ongoing pandemic as many fight to survive. Most theatres haven't been able to put on any shows since the first lockdown, and many are hoping to reopen when the current restrictions end in December. Tim Bassett spoke to one Salford theatre company about how they are adjusting to the new normal.
We started running our classes for our Young Performers Company online after about 2 or 3 weeks. All those classes took place online until August. We decided that at that point we were able to start classes again. Yeah. It does make things difficult to plan, but it's almost that you have to think that things could change quite drastically. If the measures are in place and everybody sticks by them, then that's as safe as you can be, you know. So, and I think it's important, you know, dare I say, well-being, mental health. Like, it's really important to get out and not, if you're able to, and not be cooped up.
The creative and performing arts industry has been greatly affected by coronavirus all across the UK, and the people from Salford are not exempt. Performing arts student Ben Hodge has been greatly affected by the pandemic as he begins his career in stand-up comedy.
I did a gig where I was going through everything and I couldn't hear any reactions from any of the other acts, and my internet was going down. And it's like, well, you know, if I was in front of an audience, there would be no like buffer and internet connection, and like that obviously stops a lot of things. Everything live, everything that this year could have helped.
It's been dry for the last couple of days, but let's see what the weather has in store for the rest of the week. Emily Nolan has been out in Salford Quays and has the latest forecast for us.
So today is going to be heavy winds, apart from 4 and 5 o'clock where it's going to be slight showers. For the rest of the week it's going to be pretty dry, except for Saturday where it's predicted to be heavy rain, so pack your brollies and back to you in the studio.
Another wet weekend coming in for us. Make sure to get to Primark to get that brolly. That's all we've got time for today. If you want to keep up to date with all news Salford, head over to our Twitter at SalfordNow or our website salfordnow.co.uk. Thank you and have a lovely evening.